everybody. I hope that you can all hear me. We are all ready for episode 12 of Quarantine. My name is Maddy, and I work at the Northern Rockies Museum in Hinton, along with the ever fabulous Tara. And today we are going to be making a birch tree painting, just like the one that was on before. And we're also going to be doing some mountain shapes as well today, 3D paper mountains. So you can find the printables to make those on our website, and you will need a couple other supplies. So if you did buy our packages, you will have a canvas that looks like this, and there is masking tape wrapped around it. That is for you to do your masking tape blocking out that we're going to do later. So make sure you don't throw this plastic stuff away. You will need that. You're going to need a palette, a paintbrush. It really doesn't matter what size. Medium-sized one is good, but we're not picky here. If you bought our packages, you will have a bag that is filled with brown, yellow, white, black, and red paint. If you don't have the packages, you will need brown, yellow, white, black, and red to do this project. And you will also need our printables and some construction paper to make our mountains. I'm just going to show you guys, this is one of the mountains that I made the other day, and it's so cute. And we're going to make a couple of them like this. So there's that. And also a cup of water too. So just get an old cup or a paper cup and just put a little bit of water in it. You won't need a lot to do this project. So first things first, we are going to pour out our paint here. So I'm just going to get all of my paint out of my little baggie there. And I am going to take my bag of paint, and I'm going to take a pair of scissors, and I'm going to cut on the corner here and just get rid of all of my paint, or sorry, pour it into my palette here. So just squeeze all of that out. And there should be more than enough paint to get this project done today. I'm going to do black next. So again, just cut off the corner and then just squeeze all of that out. Right on there. Next color, why don't we do yellow next? So cut that corner. And it doesn't have to be fancy paints if you are doing this at home. I find that the dollar store stuff works quite well for projects like this. And you can use a bigger canvas if you want to. I don't know if you can see, I have a bigger one right here that I did as the example one. So you could do a bigger canvas. I'm going to cut my brown now, pour that in. All right, and one last color. We've got our red to go here. We've got our red. And make sure you guys are wearing old painting clothes too. That is also important. You want to make sure that you don't mess up your nice clothes. And it's also good to put a plastic sheet or something down underneath while you're painting so you don't paint on any furniture or carpet or flooring. So now that we've got all of our paint into our palette and I've got my paintbrush, I'm going to open up this here. So I'm just going to put my thumb or my finger here to the back, and I'm just going to go like this. And it's okay if this cuts, or the masking tape cuts here. That's fine when you rip it off. Pull that off and down. And there we go. We've got our canvas all opened up. So I'm just going to set this on my easel here. And I'm going to keep this because we will need this in just a moment. So I'm just going to put it off to the side. And we can start painting. And the first part of this painting is super boring because we are just going to be painting this canvas white. That's right. All of this canvas is just going to be white. We're making sure that we have a nice solid surface from which we're going to work from. And you'll notice that the canvas is kind of see-through. If you hold it up to the light, you can see here. We want to make sure that it's nice and solid here. So let's start painting this all white. Of this white. And it doesn't have to be perfect. You don't really have to do the sides of this. We're just going to paint all of it white. I know this part's kind of lame, just painting this white canvas white, but it is a very, very important step. And it's also important that you don't put too much paint on here because we do want this to dry fairly quickly here. So you want to just kind of put enough of the paint to cover the canvas, but not too much that you've got big gobs of paint on there. So if you look now, you can see that it's starting to cover in that area there. I'm going to shine it up to the light. So I'm just going to keep on painting this in white. If you do have a bigger paintbrush, this would be a great time to use it. Oops, there we go. And I hope that you guys had a fabulous Easter this past weekend. I know that I did. All right, just about done with this. Oh yes, and there's one thing Tara showed you guys yesterday when you were making your flowers. This guy right here, I made mine with Tara too. She showed you that long bony thing and she asked you what it was. And you can go back in yesterday's video and check it out if you didn't get to see it. It is a bison vertebrae. So that's like part of your spine on your back. And those long vertebrae stick up, straight up. And it kind of looks like a dinosaur skeleton. If you've ever looked at a bison skeleton, I recommend checking it out on the internet because they're very interesting. So that big hump they have on their back is just all these big spiky bones that they have. All right, I'm almost done painting this in here. And once we're all done painting, I'm going to hold it up to the light and see how well I did here. Was able to paint in all of the areas or not. All right, I think I've got it pretty good. So I'm just going to hold it up. And, ooh, I've missed a spot. So you probably won't be able to see it in the stream here, but I've got little tiny dots. So the canvas has bumps in it, and that helps the paint stick to it, but it can be a pain sometimes because you miss spots when you're painting. So you want to make sure that we've got all of those covered up. And I think I've got them now. So now we have a beautiful white canvas. It looks like we've done absolutely nothing, but we've done the most important step. So the next thing we need to do is we're going to wash our brush off. So take your fabulous cup of water, and we're just going to wash our brush off. And when you're done, take the edge of your brush and the edge of your cup, and you're just going to scrape off all of the extra water and paint from your previous color. It's okay if there's a bit of white left on it. That's not too big of a deal, but you want to get most of it off. So now I've got my brush all ready to go. And we are going to now add random kind of strips, blotches of black paint on here. And we want to make sure that it's not too gobby again. We don't want big piles of paint on our painting. So, and it works really good because this is still wet. So this is going to work quite well. So I'm just going to do a couple of black lines like this, making sure that my black marks aren't too gobby. And you don't want too many, just a few. And you can do a couple that are kind of fat. So I'm going to do a fat one kind of right here. Do kind of a like this. Almost looks like an eye. Can do another eye shape up here. This is going to be the bark of our birch or aspen trees. So the shape that we're making right now, this kind of eye shape, is simulating where a branch would come out. So they're kind of scars where the old branches have come out and then they've broken off and then the tree has that black mark on it. So they're usually in this kind of shape. And let's just put one there and one up there and one there. So I think that's looking pretty good. And I don't have a lot of paint on here except for right here. Let's just get that there. So I'm done with this part now. So I'm just going to put my paintbrush into my water and I'm going to put my palette aside. We need to let this dry before we put our masking tape on. And if you are at home, you can take a blow dryer or heat gun and you can start blow drying your painting. Just make sure that you don't get too hot or too close to the canvas because the paint will start to bubble. It is plastic, this type of paint that we're working with, acrylic, so it will bubble the same way as if you put a sheet of plastic on a flame. So we don't want that to happen. So just kind of go across it like that. But while I'm waiting for my painting to dry, I am going to make our cute little mountains here. So in your kits that you got, you would have got a printable. So you would have got this printable and some construction paper. And so we're going to start with this next. So I'm going to get a pair of scissors right here. And I'm going to get something to write with because I am going to cheat the system on this a little bit. So I'm going to take my this guy right here, this mountain shape, and I am going to use this to trace out my shapes onto the construction paper. If you have your printables at home and you don't have any construction paper, you can just cut this out and color this however you like. But I really like the look of how they turned out when we've got that nice construction paper. So that's what we're going to be doing today. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to take our big mountain shape and I'm going to place it on top of my construction paper. And just for some added security, I am going to take some of that masking tape we used earlier or took off of our canvas, just a couple pieces of it. And I'm going to tape this mountain onto this construction paper in place so it doesn't move around. So just one piece at the top and one piece at the bottom. So now that printable is stuck onto that construction paper there. You can see that. And what we're going to do now is we're going to take a pencil, a marker, something that's got a hard edge to it. You could even use like a toothpick or a ruler, truly. And we are going to trace out this outline of this mountain shape onto the construction paper. And it's going to leave an imprint into the construction paper below. Now, if you feel like you're not too confident in doing this, that's okay. You can start cutting out this shape and you can use this shape as a template as well. I'm going to cheat a little bit and this is what I'm doing. So I've got that tape up here and then I'm going to trace around the outside edge. So let's start here. And you want to make sure you've got a fair amount of pressure on there because you want to make sure that you can see that image below. So make sure you don't forget all of or any of the edges. So I'm going to go all the way around, getting all of these done. Let's do this side here. And this works too quite well this way because you are actually scoring all of your folds. So after you're done cutting it, it'll make it so much easier to fold it into the appropriate shape. All right, and I think I've got them all here. So now that I've got all of my lines done up, I am going to peel it off of my construction paper. And I doubt that you guys will be able to see this, but I've got a perfect outline of my mountain on here. So I can just follow along with these indents on my paper and cut it out. So that's what I'm going to do right now. So you might want to kind of hold it up to the light so you can get some shadows to help you see where you've drawn those lines. So we're going to go here and we'll just start cutting. And make sure you're only cutting the outside edge. You're not cutting any of the inner lines. So you're only cutting around here. Don't cut any of these lines because these are fold lines. Those are important that they stay intact. So we're going to cut all the way around. And we've got our first mountain shape done. So we're going to fold on all of these lines that we drew out on here. And they should be pretty easy. Look, they just fold. So simple because we've already drawn them out on here. We've scored them. And if you've watched previous Quarren trains, I've shown you guys how to score pages with a ruler before too. So this is very similar. It just makes folding so much easier. Look, it just folds right away. And here's another fold. All right, and then this last one is kind of tricky because it's really tiny. So take your time on this one. So just go all the way down and look at this. We've got our mountain all folded. So you can glue this into place. I am going to use some craft double-sided tape for this. And I'm just going to put it down that tab, that little tiny tab at the end there. So just like this. And we can now glue this into place or tape it into place. So we've got the bottom part of our mountain done, but what about the snow-capped peak here? We really want that because right now it kind of just looks like a blue pyramid. So you're going to want to grab the other part of your printable. Let's see, where do I have that? Right here. The one that's got the picture of the painting we're working on and the finished mountain. And you'll see that there's a smaller version of the mountain that we just made. That's the snow-capped peak. So you can cut this out and put it on top of your mountain, or you can cut this out of any color construction paper. You could have a fabulous pink mountain, pink snow mountain if you wanted. I'm going to do mine white though. It's kind of boring, I know. So I'm going to do the same thing that I did before. I'm going to take this and I'm going to tape it onto my white paper. So let's just go grab some more of that tape we were using. If I can grab any off of here. Let's see. Oh, no, it doesn't want to come. There we go. I'm just going to use a little tiny bit just to hold it into place. So I've got my tape and I'm going to hold it into place on my white sheet. So I've put tape on the bottom and I'm going to put tape on the side here this time. So it's not going out anywhere. It's not going to move. So we can then take our pencil, whatever you were using before, and we're going to trace the outline of the snow-capped peak. So again, I'm just going to press pretty hard down on this and go all the way around the edges. It's smart to start with the outside edges first, trace all of those, and then move inside to all of those diagonal lines. So I've got my outside done, and now I'm just going to work on all of my diagonal lines. So that's done, and now I can take this piece off of here, and I should see my snow-capped peak, which I do. And again, it'll be hard for you guys to see it on the stream here, but you will see it when you are actually doing this at home. So I am going to just cut it out. And don't do what I've done. I have been drawing on top of the pages that I'm using, so I'm getting double lines here from my pencil, and you don't want that. So be smarter than me. So I've cut out my snow-capped peak, and I'm just going to fold all of the edges in now. And it's really easy again because we've already scored the edges. So I'm just going to follow those lines. There's one fold. Let's do another one here. There's another one. Just keep doing it all the way around your snow peak. Got 2 more folds left. And this last one's really tricky because it's very, very tiny. It's a lot tinier than the other tab we did on the bigger mountain. So again, take your time. Great. So here's our snow-capped peak. So I am just going to tape it together with my double-sided tape, or you can use glue. I'm not using my trusty glue gun today, but you guys could use a glue gun to do this. And I'm just going to take the back of my tape and stick it together. So there we go. We've got our peak to our mountain, like this. There's only one problem though, is that this is just going to fall off. So you need to add some tape onto your mountain or glue so that this will stick on top. So I'm just going to do that right now. Take a couple more pieces of this double-sided tape. And you don't need a lot. Really just a little tiny dab of glue will do ya. All right, there's one, and we'll put one back here. And check out your painting. So mine's looking pretty good. I have a couple of little wet areas I'm probably going to brush off here. Just a sec. But it's looking pretty good. It's looking almost dry. So I can take my peak and put it on top of my mountain. And it's smart if you line up the area where you glued it together on this peak to the mountain, because this will be the back, because it's not as pretty as the rest of it, because it's where you've put all your seams together. So you can see, kind of see there's a hole in that area. But here is our mountain. And I'm just going to take it one step further while I wait for my lovely picture here to dry. I'm just going to put a little flag on top of my mountain. So I'm just going to do this with a toothpick and a piece of construction paper. And really easy, I'm going to cut a triangle out of my construction paper. Just a little triangle, doesn't need to be anything too big. So I've got my triangle piece here, and I'm going to wrap this around my toothpick at the end and tape it or glue it into place. So I'm just going to use a little bit of this tape here. Whoops. Just tape that right in. So I've got my flag, and I can stick this on the top of my mountain. And it looks like someone has climbed to the top. They have summited this mountain there. So these look really cute on the top of your parents' mantle at home or on a dresser. So if you have a whole bunch of them, and you can change the sizes of them by just cutting down the bottom of the pyramid shape here. but they turn out really cute, I think. So we're all done with our mountains here, and you guys are free to make more with your templates. I'm only going to make one today, though. So I'm just going to clean up my space here since we're all done with that. And let's see. So you're going to hold up your painting in the light and see if there's any shiny areas. If it's shiny, that means that the paint is still wet. And I do still have a few shiny areas. And so if we've got shiny areas, this next part isn't going to work very well. So I'm just going to take my brush and I'm going to find all those shiny areas, and I am just going to kind of brush them away so that they're not shiny anymore, that they're going to dry quicker. And I don't have too many. I tried to be pretty careful. Ooh, there's a great big gob there. And this one. And if you don't have a blow dryer at home, really great way to dry this is just to do this. Make sure you don't have papers on your table or they'll go flying away. You don't want that. Or you can blow on it too. I think I'm pretty much good, but I am going to blow dry this, so I'm sorry if this is loud for everybody at home. Want to make sure that I do a good example for you all. So I'm just going to start blow drying here. And done. So it's all dry. I can put my hand on here. I'm not going to smear any of the paint, which is great because now we can do the next step, which is blocking out where we want our trees to be. And that's where our masking tape is going to come in handy. So I heard that somebody had painter's tape at home. That would be a perfect alternative for this. So I am going to start to peel my masking tape off, and I am going to start to make some trees on my canvas. So I'm just going to pull this guy off first here. Ooh, if I can get it, come on. And go nice and slow with this because I just ripped off some plastic with me as I went. All right, so I'm going to take this and I'm going to figure out where I want a tree. So I think I'm going to want one. Right here. So I'm going to put a tree down right here. And I want to make sure that this is on there really good. I'm going to press down with a fingernail on the edge of my tape to make sure it's on there really good. And I'm just going to wrap the extra around the outside edge. So I've got a tree, and I'm just going to continue to do this throughout your picture here, throughout my picture. So I'm going to try to put on another tree here, see if I can get an edge of a piece of tape. And yeah, just keep going along there. And you can put two pieces of tape together to make a really fat tree, or you could cut the piece of tape to make it look thinner, so you've got like a young tree on there. So it doesn't have to be just like mine too. You can do your own designs. That's always nice as well. So I very carefully take this off here. All right. So I am going to do a little tree on my picture. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the tape in my finger, and I'm going to take a pair of scissors, and I'm going to cut it into the shape that I want. And actually, I think I'm going to turn this into a branch. I've changed my mind last minute. So to make a branch, you want to make a triangle shape. So I want a fat end and then a pointy end. So here I have a branch shape here. And I think this branch is a bit too big for this tree, so I'm just going to cut it here. Make it a little smaller. And the branches on your trees are always going to want to grow up. So you want to make sure that your branches are pointing up. You don't want saggy branches because they are reaching out for the sunlight on the birch trees. So let's just put that there. And again, press down hard on there. You want to make sure that it's on there really good. Let's take another piece of tape off of here. Try this again. There we go. Nice and gentle with it. Great, so I got this piece of tape off, and I'm not sure. I think I'm going to have one tree on this side and then two on that side, and then kind of just have an opening in the middle. So I'm going to put this other tree there. And if your trees are a little crooked, that's okay because there are some crooked trees in the forest. Remember, when you put that tape down, you really want to press hard on the edges. So I've got another tree. I just need one more tree on my fabulous picture here, and then I think I'll add a few more branches on there. All right, let's get this next piece of tape off. There we go. Got a nice big long piece this time. Perfect. Okay, so I'm going to stick, I'm going to stick this guy, I think right here. Right here. Just wrap the edges around the back here. Make sure you press this all down really good. And then I'm going to start to cut some more branches down. So I think maybe I'll do a branch in here, and maybe I'll do one up here and one there. I think that'll turn out pretty good. So actually I can use this tape that I had from before. And this tape part can be a little tricky because it gets all stuck up on your fingers. So just have some patience. Take your time. So what did I say? I was going to put a branch here. So there's one branch. You know what? I think I'm going to put a nub on one of these trees. You know how the trees have just kind of a little broken off branch? It's not really a whole branch. So I'm just going to do a round sort of shape to glue on or tape on there. That looks good. And I think I'm just going to put this right here. Good. And then my last one, or I'm going to do two more actually. Let's see here. Where do I want this one to go? So I could do, let's put one, actually I'm going to put this one this way. I don't have a branch going this way. There, and then one, maybe right here. This branch placement is like the hardest part, I tell you. Want to make sure that your trees look different because every tree in the forest is different. So if they look too matchy-match the same, it doesn't give the same look to the picture. So I don't like that these two branches are at the same height. It just doesn't look right. So I'm going to move this branch down a bit. Maybe I will put him, let's see, maybe down here, maybe up high. I think I'm going to put him up high. There we go. I think that is going to be a lot better. So before I move on to the next step, I'm going to make sure that all of my masking tape is on here really good. That is like one of the most important things for this project. So again, I'm just going to go over with my nails, making sure it's in there really good. Great. We're ready for the next step. We have done all of our masking tape on here, so we can continue. And I'm just going to take all my masking tape pile and put them away and grab my canvas, or my palette, sorry. So we are going to be using our brown, red, and yellow this time for our canvas. Just going to make sure that my paintbrush is all cleaned off. So again, I've just put it in the water and I'm just scraping off the edge, making sure I get all of that paint off. Great. So I'm going to start with the top. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint this top section here all red. Pretty easy. Just going to take this and we're going to paint all of this top section red. And the crazier your brush strokes are, the better this picture ends up looking. So you want to make sure that your brush strokes aren't all going down or aren't all going side to side. You kind of want them crazy like this. So I'm just going to continue to paint this whole area up here. And you will see that some of the black that you painted before is showing through, and that's okay. We will fix that later on. So I'm just going to keep going through. Painting all of this up. Great, so we just have a little section left. Great. So I didn't paint all the way down to half. You don't need to. You can. I'm not going to for this one. Now, I'm not going to wash my brush this time. I'm going to go directly from my red paint to my brown paint, and I'm going to paint this bottom section of my painting in that brown paint. And you can do different sizes of these areas. So I kind of have like, it's a little more than a third and a third down here, but you could do just a little tiny bit of red on top and then a whole lot of brown on the bottom, or vice versa. And make sure you are crazy down here too. Want those random crazy brush strokes. And once you guys are all done your paintings, I would love to see the finished results. I really appreciated seeing all of the finished Bison Under the Star paintings, and I was uber impressed. They were some of my favorites that I've ever seen, so thank you guys so much for that. And I hope that you've learned a couple new skills for painting doing all of this. So I've got a brown section, I've got a red section, and we still have a yellow. So again, I'm not going to wash my brush. I'm going to go directly from brown to yellow, and I'm just going to kind of fill this area in with yellow right now. And it's not going to look great, but we're going to make it look great by the end. So we're just going to kind of fill this in here. And again, do your crazy random brush strokes. Those are important. And you will see some of those black areas again through the yellow. That's okay, we will fix that part. So I've got my 3 areas all colored now. So I've got red on the top, I've got yellow in the middle, and I've got brown at the bottom. And it doesn't really look all that fantastic. So we're going to go on to the next part, and it is a little tricky, but it can be lots of fun. So first I'm going to start with red. And again, I don't need to wash off my paintbrush. I could scrape off some of the paint I've been using on one of the sides of the pucks here on my palette. I don't need to wash it off. I'm going to take my red paint, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to do random strokes of red in my brown and yellow areas on my painting. We're kind of simulating falling leaves at this point, and this is going to help camouflage those black spots that we painted before. So we just kind of want to do some random little spots here every so often. And we will keep building this up. It will cover up all those spots below. So now I have some random red spots on there, and I'm going to put some random brown spots on there. I'm not washing my brush, I'm just going on. So I'm going to put my brown spots in the red area and the yellow area this time. And it's great when you kind of mix some of your brown paint and your red wet paint together, because it starts to make the look that we wanted for our painting. And now I'm going to go into that yellow area and add some brown. Pretty easy. So we've got brown on our red, we've got red on our brown, and we've got red and brown on our yellow. So the last color that we need to do is our yellow on our brown and our red sections. And again, I'm not going to wash off my paintbrush. I'm just going to go directly into my yellow, and I'm going to start adding bits of yellow into those 2 areas. And you'll notice that we have almost completely covered up all of those black spots now. They're almost all gone. And I'm going to put a few yellow spots on the bottom. I'm not going to put as many yellow spots on the bottom because I'm imagining that this is more of the ground and these yellow leaves haven't fallen off of the trees yet. So I'm just going to put a few kind of near the top. Definitely not as much as I did up here. So now you can go back, and I'm just going to blend some of these areas in to make it look a little not so crazy here. So I'm just going to put a little bit of water on my brush because it was getting a little dry. And I'm just going to kind of go over these areas here, just some of them, and kind of mix the colors together just with some water. And I might come back and add some more colors back into some of these areas. But it's starting to look a lot better in this area. It doesn't look so crazy. You could do this project on some cardstock too, or a piece of wood. This would be a good project for a piece of wood as well. And this certainly would be such a lovely gift to give in the fall to somebody too. Liking that. I don't think I've got enough yellow on mine, so I'm going to add a bit more yellow into a few places here. And I'm just going to make sure I work in my yellow. Good. I think I'm liking how this has turned out so far. So I'm just going to put my paintbrush in there, and I'm going to very quickly just blow dry this a couple of seconds, and then I'm going to peel off the masking tape to reveal our picture. You guys should certainly wait longer. You should wait until all of your paint is dry before you start peeling it off. I just kind of wanted to show you guys what it looks like when it's all done. So again, excuse me for the loud sound. Just like, oh, come on. Great. So I'm going to start peeling off my tape, starting from the back here. Ah, and there is one of our trees. Oh, that looks so cool. That's why I love this painting. It's like magic at the end. Okay, so we're going to do our next tree here. Hopefully the branches come off as nicely as that one did. All right, next tree. Whoop. Oh, so good. Look at that. And our last one. Here we go. All the way up. Oh, that was too clean. Look at that. All my branches came off with the trunks. That's a first. But I really like how this turned out. I think I put the trees in just the right places for my painting here. And because I left this area in the middle, this would be a perfect place to paint a stag, or maybe you want to paint a person walking in the forest, or maybe you want to have an owl up on one of these branches here. Or you can leave it just like this too, because I think that this looks very pretty just as it is as well. So that is our finished project for today. Next week on Quarantine, we are going to do a whole bunch of different Indigenous things. So on Tuesday, Tara's going to be showing you guys how to make storytelling dice and making your own stories from those dice. It's very neat. On Wednesday, I'm going to be teaching you about Mr. Miss Squaw, Big Bear and the Seven Hunters, and we're making a 3D diorama book. Very nice. And then on Thursday, we are making a woven bowl out of yarn. So we're doing lots of fun stuff next week. if you guys have the opportunity, please consider making a donation on our website. And please remember to like and share this video. That helps the museum out so much, especially right now. And thank you everybody for watching. You guys have been so supportive. It's been so heartwarming for both Tara and I. You guys are so awesome. And please remember to share your finished pictures because I'm sure they look way better than mine. You guys are fabulous, and I hope that you have an awesome rest of your day. See you later.